Depot, Al Smith, you know. And we use a,
It's 5:30, let's start.
okay, fire and fall back.
We'll go through the delinquent utility accounts first, and then be forwarded to the auditor of Lincoln County. You guys are more than welcome to look through these and pass it down. And
See if I can.
there's only one on there.
I'll be
You're there on the just sign.
I don't know where.
What's that?
Dave?
You're there on the
Oh, be on the south side. Yeah.
I've never done the song.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Never seen it.
Seen this? Yeah. I mean, just take.
Go ahead and get started. Just kind of wanted to mention about the recent training that everyone's going through. Earlier this month, I went to a water workshop at his campus, on November 6th. Nick and I have one coming up on the 26th, 27th, which we're going to do a water workshop. And then we also.
Think you don't know enough about wastewater already?
A lot to learn.
Learn every day.
Where's that?
That one's in Columbus too. It's at the same hotel down there. So it's in Worthington. And then we have John Appleman and crew going to a leak detection workshop and water service location seminar on the 17th. He's taking his whole crew. So they'll be tied up with this and that.
Mike and Steve are going to that too?
Yeah. It's actually, I mean, everyone has to go to a seminar because of continuing education units and every other license.
Oh, okay.
So this was close, it's reasonable price, and the city pays for continuing education, so it's a good price.
What's the cost on that?
I think it was like $70 maybe, or $60 a person. So, it's one of the more reasonable. Also wanted to mention some wastewater and water employees trying for license in May of 2013. We have Mike Hammond, Class 3 water plant. Nick Ross, we're going for his Class 3 wastewater plant. Dan Stofan, 3 wastewater plant. Shane Farabee will be going for a Class 3 water plant and a Class 1 wastewater plant. And Carl Bozhart will be going for a Class 2 wastewater. I think they're all hoping to not retire. They're all getting their license. One of the mention, that's like one of the seminars we go to. One Nick and I will be going to will be in this exact same building tomorrow. But what I thought was interesting and what I wanted to bring up is they said everybody age 50 and over hold up their hand. And these are operators all over the state, and probably 75% of the people in that seminar held up their hand. But if you know any young guys that want to get into a good field where there's going to be a lot of job openings coming up in the next 4 or 5 years, water, wastewater is a good to get into. So, some topics are really good, some topics are a little bit, again, I think a lot about repetitious, but the main thing is that we have to attend these things in order to keep our license. If we don't, I'll talk a little bit about the new booster station training that we had. We just recently went through some training. Everybody that was, this is on the water end now, everybody that was affiliated with that's going to work with the new station attended. We had a gentleman come in from Rockwell on training on variable frequency drives. That is a variable frequency drive, and that is too part of mine. That kind of shows you what's inside of it. That gentleman was very good and instructed everybody real well. We had Amanda, Dave, John Apple. This gentleman here was from Pro Line Electric, who actually installed the units. This was the guy from Rockwell. Variable frequency drive. Of course, we had Juan Hospice and like I said, anybody that would be involved in. We also had training on the chlorine pumps. This is one of our new chlorine pumps. It's really neat. I don't know if you've seen one of these yet or not, but this is a peristaltic pump. But this is that one continuous hose I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And every so often you take this lever and you pull it back and you slide this hose along so it doesn't wear the hose out. So you just, every month
That
you
would
just,
be handy.
yeah, you just move it to a different
Yeah.
location on
Instead
the
of
hose.
replacing the hose every
Instead of
time.
replacing the hose all the time. So
That's neat.
it's kind of neat and it's something new and hopefully it's been working out real well. So.
What'd you call that thing?
Peristaltic pump. It actually uses the hose to pump the material. There's a cam inside there that forces up against the hose that pumps the water and creates suction and moves it right along. But it's done really well with chlorine that we've used, both in the water and wastewater. That is, of course, whenever you feed chlorine, you have to have the ability in someone to get it in their eyes to have an eye wash, and I just thought I'd show you guys that. That's all inside the same building here.
OSHA required.
Yes.
Got them all in the one for all of it.
This is that new building right there on Urban Hall.
On Licking View. Right here's the picture of that. That's the inside of the building there on Licking View. It's definitely sized for the future. You know, I mean, you got a little bit of room in there. I know you ran into a lot of problems with the height of that building and get too close to the electrical lines and so forth, but it's turned out to be.
Somebody
ran over that.
Is that pole there? The line, that line is ready to come down.
Is
That's telephone.
It's cable TV.
Oh, okay. I think somebody hit it and then just took off.
Yeah.
Well, no, they actually stayed, but
Oh,
they
did they?
staked it, yeah, because weren't you involved in that, Mac?
No.
Somebody from the water
Jack
department,
and
wastewater.
I think, knew about it. I
Oh,
And
remember.
they saw it happen, or was there right after it happened, and I'm pretty sure they said the person stayed there until the police came.
Oh,
So, I don't know, it seems like pump work's been the big thing right
Wait,
now.
I got it.
Yeah.
How has the adjustment been with chlorinating from that location for the east side? And what kind have you dialed back some of the chlorination in for the rest of the city?
Yes, we have. I don't know, have you noticed the difference in chlorine a little bit?
Yeah.
You know, when it first came online, like you said, that
Yeah.
weekend,
Yeah.
it kind of smelled like a swimming pool. It seemed like maybe you dialed it back a little bit from that. It doesn't have that smell as nearly as bad. So I noticed it when it first came online.
Yeah, I noticed when I took a shower, boy,
Yeah.
the hot water, it was, you could really tell it.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, it, like it was last.
Trying to get it adjusted, and yeah, we are bringing the chlorine levels back inside the main part of the city. Because we can get chlorine levels there, a little higher range of EPA levels. So yeah, it's doing a lot better.
So it helps.
It does help balance everything.
Whereas our chlorination on the east side probably has gone up some.
Yeah.
For the rest of the city, it's been able to go down because they've had to chlorinate from there to get it to
Right.
us.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Might even be using less chlorine.
Probably are, we're all.
Well, overall, maybe.
You know, we just add a little bit, with you guys to bring it up to standards. And then, we are saving quite a bit probably on the other end, so we'd like to get that concentration. Hopefully we don't get chlorine. Been going through some pump work. This is actually a pump that we were looking at the new booster station. They were making sure that everything was lined up and everything on it. This is a pump that we've taken out 3 times now at Blue Jet. This is our guys, and that's Bill, Sean, and Vic. Right there. These are all 3 new employees at the water distribution. They're getting really good at pumps because we've had, like I said, we've had that one out there 3 times. Can't seem to get it fixed. Had the company come in, they couldn't fix it, so we ended up having to send that pump out to get it repaired.
that's the bottom of Blue Jay wants in there where it forks.
That's where you saw all the
Yeah.
trucks and everything. So we got 1 pump there now. But I don't know, the seal, we're having trouble with the seals. I think we tried to repair it ourselves. Like sometimes we just don't have the right tools to repair pumps. So ultimately, a lot of times it ends up going back to the pump shop. And so anyway, I haven't heard anything back. It's supposed to be in this week, but this was a pump that we had, laser line. While they were in laser lining the one at, Licking View, we went ahead and sent them up to Dodge Roll and lined everything up there because we were having this coupling fail, on a pretty periodic basis. I know at one time Bob Keller said he had low pressure. Well, one reason was because this coupling right here failed. And the pump on the SCADA system said everything was running fine. This coupling failed, and there's no way of knowing that failed. So, motors turned into the pumps is septic. So we thought everything was fine, and all of a sudden we get these little, people calling on low pressure, and go up and check the pump. That shouldn't happen anymore because we actually have a duplex backup system to the backup system on the east side. Licking View, is, first call. If we go run into a second call, then Dodge will come on, which we feed into, actually two locations. So if something would happen to Licking View, the tank would go to a certain level, then all of a sudden Dodge would come on as a lag. So right now we have Licking View as the lead, Dodge was the lag. Those are the new pumps there. I want to have a picture of those. Some of these you've probably seen before, but what I wanted to bring up here was, it was kind of neat. They have these pumps. This is, actually the discharge. Let's see, yeah. This is a suction. This is a discharge going out. But what is everything kind of goes up here and hangs out and comes down. And we didn't like that setup because everything was resting on these rubber reducers and stuff. And the engineers kept saying, yeah, there's no ball or anything. Then we got thinking, we need to pull these pumps out, and what's going to keep this from, settling, or, you got this cantilever thing kind of like. So what we did was, we told them to install a little stand right here that kind of keeps everything balanced, takes the pressure off everything. And I thought it was kind of neat. Worked out real well.
That won't interfere with them taking apart or anything like that.
Actually, it'll help it, because when we go to pull the pumps out and everything, it'll hold up those pipes stay in the same place. So when we go to slide the pump back in, I have to worry about settling and trying to jack something out. Want to let you know that things are moving on with our plant expansion, the work that we're doing, the upgrade. Interested parties may tour the site on March 27th, which is Wednesday. So all the people that are interested in doing the work on the upgrade will be coming down to the water plant between 9 and 11 a.m. on March 27th to look at what's going to be done down there. We strongly recommend anyone bidding on the project that they come down to bid. Bids are going to be opened on April 9th. I just kind of want to mention the project status. We added pressure switch and transmitter to the high service pump because originally we thought there's a pressure transmitter down there, but we found out that it didn't work. So we went ahead and ran it in specs to go ahead and add a pressure sensor down. We advertised, the advertisement is completed on for the public in the newspaper and for the people bidding in the newspaper. So that's complete. What's on 18th on that. Now also the advertisement has been sent out to Dodge and Building Exchange. Those are the people that keeps track of projects that's going on so that the contractors can bid them. And we also mailed out, there'll also be one addendum, and that's on that pressure sensor that I mentioned. That'll be coming out, that'll be included with the drawings. Plan holders, people who have actually taken plans out for the upgrade of the water plant. It costs them $250 to get a set of plans. So, you know the ones that are pretty much interested in really bidding the project if they're bidding. Mechanical construction company, Lee Flockner is the contact there. They're out of Portsmouth, Ohio. Laney and Associates, and Ludlow's the contact there. They're out of Erlanger, Kentucky. Winco Incorporated, Dale Hodges is the contact there. They are out of Westchester, Ohio. County Construction Company, Bob Tolliver, is out of Baltimore, Ohio. Proline Electric Incorporated, is out of, Lancaster, Ohio. Wayne, Terry Breckenridge's contact on that, they're out of Middletown, Ohio. Kirk Brothers Company is a company that, just completed the upgrade in 2011 at the wastewater plant, for the upgrade there. They are going to bid the project too. They are on about Ohio. Coil Incorporated, they are out of Waverly, Ohio. Jim Foley, is in contact on that. Ollie Raymond is out of Pitt City, Ohio. Contact there. Just Howard Electric Company, is, they're out of Blackbird, Ohio. So they took out set plans. So these are all people that have taken out sets of plans that are hopefully gonna be bidding on our project. I think we've got quite a few.
All of these will be bidding on the project in its entirety.
Yeah, the water plant, in its entirety.
Water plant upgrade.
Water plant, that's the clarifier. New clarifier, new high surface pumps. Get rid of the 1970s. I wanted to mention to you about the water monitoring wells. We recently had those, repaired. These are 3 monitoring wells in the 3 different aquifers in between the old pure oil refinery and the water plant. These are actually the wells themselves. One sets at about 250 feet, that's the lowest aquifer, the one that we're in. One's around 100 feet, that's the middle aquifer, and then the top aquifers in the top are right around 20 to 25 feet. We monitor these for petroleum products, so we have VOCs, volatile organic compounds, such as a lot of times like benzene, toluene. If we would pick up any of those parameters and any of the levels, we would know that that's coming towards the water plant, and we have to take care of things. I don't know what we would do, but at least we would know that it's on its way. We've never had a hit on anything yet, and a lot of that's attributed to the different clay layers. There's several layers of clay that separate the aquifers, so it kind of makes it impermeable for the gasoline to penetrate down to the bottom of the aquifer, which is where we're at. Thank God we didn't have any problems with that. I know, and also Chevron, yes, doing a pretty good job with the cleanup over there. They burn off all those gases that are in the ground over there, and I know people used to be able to go over on Heath Road, dig a hole and light a match and throw it in the hole and it would burn. A lot of that is dissipated. I don't know what you're familiar with all that, but we had to do, years ago at the refinery, they had the dunes. They actually filled them up full of oil. That's how they did it back then. Over the years, the oil actually concentrated itself into the ground and so now Chevron's a big cleanup, and that's, you go off the Heath Road, you see those little buildings sitting in the back, looks like there's a big burner sitting close to where the airport and stuff is. They collect those fumes off of that and burn it off into the atmosphere. So they've been doing that for several years now, and it's purely kept it from concentrating and all that petroleum moving towards us.
General migration of the southeast, is that still the case?
And actually kind of
Whatever causes it to kind of go to the southeast from the site?
kind of follows Irvingwick. If you take Irvingwick, follow that down across Barb Avenue, down Irvingwick, east, down around Barb Avenue.
Sort of meanders that way.
That's the direction that they say that it's 5-year time to travel towards our aquifer. That's the direction that it runs. Supposedly we take a drop of water, send it out in the outermost section of what the refinery was. It would take 5 years, that drop of water to get to the water plant. It would penetrate all those layers of so what we did was we went in here, these were looking pretty shabby. this was all broken up. They came in, they repaired the top lids, put new lids on. So the apartment's probably been those lids, probably been all several times.
What are those specifically?
Right behind, you know, the veterinarian up here off of State Route 71.
Underwood?
Underwood, they're right behind that, like a little cul-de-sac area.
Liberty Drive.
Liberty Drive, right on Liberty Drive. If you remember where Greg Coyle used to live years ago in that blue house there, up the middle of that.
You know, John, right over here on Irving, right up a little bit from my house, they come over there every so often. They've got, I watch them plant it, they've got a dam built under the ground there. And you can see the well kept there, and they'll come over and they'll pump a truckload of stuff out of that every so
They
often.
used to do that on a routine basis, actually, Hospice and Excavating had the contract for that years ago. I don't know if they're still pumping it or not, they're still pumping it? But yeah, they used to pump off, actually, used to pump petroleum off the top layer, every so often.
Yeah, before they started doing that, when I first moved over there in 74 or 75, certain places, after it rained, you could smell it coming out of the ground.
A lot of people live off of Heath Road, if they had basements, they could smell in their basements. They had crawl spaces, they got that in their crawl spaces, smell. And quiet, I mean, we haven't heard anything, usually, you know, used to be you'd have a resident complain now and then, but I haven't heard, ever since, Chevron's been doing this recovery system, I haven't heard much anything, so hopefully it's.
Yeah, it was both.
Yeah, your dad
I'll
took
look
me
what
back
they have.
there at one time and showed me how he just took his heel and cooked down in there and it set it fire. That blew my mind. It scared me because I didn't know if it was gonna blow up or what.
If we'd have a main break, you'd actually get sick from the fumes when you compare it to the water line together. It would have, the fumes were so strong that it would make you lightheaded and dizzy. So it's pretty bad.
There was some fires back there. The stench of that place.
Yeah.
God.
That pretty much covers everything I was gonna talk about on water. Go ahead and get started on this one. You know, of course, we're gonna be doing we're gonna do away with the lift stations, the Fox Run and Scioto lift stations. We did a study back in, probably about 2 years ago, where we tried to determine what lift stations we could actually get rid of. From that study, we found out that the 2 lift stations that we could actually, thought that we could get rid of. One was Scioto on State Route 79. The other one is the Fox Run. So we're in the progress of bidding that project out to do away with those 2 lift stations. It'll be fantastic for us. You know, it's gonna save in the long run on maintenance costs, electricity, pump repair, sending men out to check it every week, 2 or 3 times a week. It's gonna be, more of these lift stations we get rid of in the long run, the better. So, wanted to mention to you that the plan holders that have taken out, do the work on getting rid of making those, lift stations instead of pumps and making it gravity flow. It's, Layton Incorporated in North Ohio, Zimmer Brothers from Zanesville, Ohio, and Kirk Brothers, from Almeda. Now, Kirk Brothers has also been in the water plant too. And that's one reason why we did that kind of together, because we thought, well, maybe we get someone interested in doing both. Maybe we get a good price. So we're doing one project.
Where's Almeda?
I don't know.
I've been all over the state.
Do you know where it's at?
419 phone numbers, it's northwest Ohio.
Northwest Ohio.
You know, the 419, it's
Yeah.
in Mansfield and all over all points.
I've never been to their facility. Kirk Brothers is a good outfit. They got pretty decent size outfit, so. I was kind of hoping for, of course, I don't know, they can still take out plans and stuff. I was kind of hoping maybe like for a Ducosing or someone like that. They did a last expansion at the water plant, doesn't have any more Ducosing works. That project was about 5 now.
Ball more one thing when you went to Blackwood. Still, wow, gravel from 100 miles away, didn't it? Or more.
Be anxious to see this actually do it. A lot of times, yeah, like who takes out plans.
That's that big, change your mind, look at it, and say,
And they pulled the lift station, one of the, just filled in, but
They'll actually, they'll fill that in, they'll direct connect it, and they'll pull everything out. The guys are getting ready to pour pads over Woodlands, where the generator will be taken to Fox Run, taken to another lift station, where we don't have a generator. So that'll be utilized, pumps will be pulled, and, there's a couple different lift stations that can use those pumps, so those will be used for backups. So, you know, we're gonna utilize everything that we can. So, you know, it's not such a big loss, but it's not like we're throwing everything away, we're gonna use the pumps, we're gonna use the generator, whatever.
I don't know if you can see that little red dot.
Senate count.
Seneca?
I thought I'd talk briefly about, just the wastewater treatment plant phases. You know, we finished our big phase up in 2011, beginning in 2012. And that's kind of the things you see highlighted in blue there. Phase two, is actually doing repairs and stuff to the wastewater plant that, on stuff that's getting older, that we feel needs updated. So that's when we did jet aeration last year, we put in the jet aerators and the digesters and so forth. We felt that was a necessity. Some things coming along in the future, I can see is possibly some new wall pumps, that we could use. We have 3 wall pumps, they've been in there for quite a long time, they're now as Chalmers. We keep rebuilding them and setting them in, possibly see, you know, maybe pumps in there. Another thing I could possibly see is, maybe, we could go to, maybe another type of chlorination system. That's something that we may wanna look at in the future, like ultraviolet. Maybe something that we could do. What we're finding out is that sometimes hiring these expensive engineering firms, you know, we seem to be able to do a pretty good job ourselves. On the jet aeration, you know, we met with the contractor, we did it ourselves. You know, we hired a local contractor that we knew real well, that worked with us, Mid-Ohio Mechanical. We laid everything out for him, had meetings, it was installed, and we never even had an engineer involved. The whole project was great. I think it does, don't you, Dan?
I'm happy with it.
Save how much in engineering,
You know, that's why they charge probably $50,000-$60,000 to engineer that. You know, to some extent, I feel comfortable doing that. I actually had the engineering firm that did the upgrade call me and wanted to know why they didn't get that. I said, I'll be quite honest with you. I said, you know, we felt comfortable doing it ourselves. And I said, well, when do you feel, this question was, well, when do you feel you need an engineer? And I said, well, project is so big that we don't feel comfortable. So I think in the future on this phase 2 stuff, you know, using our replacement fund, which is what that's designed for, we may see ultraviolet, maybe, we may add some different things, and we may kind of engineer some stuff ourselves. If we have the money sitting there, and we can engineer it, I think we can go through with it ourselves. I'm not saying anything needs to be done in the near future at the wastewater plant. I think we're in pretty good shape. But, you know, you never know what phase 2 is replacement. So whatever big item goes out, you know, it'll be replaced.
You feel you can sit down with the group that you've got and discuss, do we really need an engineer on this? Get this thing done.
That's exactly what we did the last time. Exactly.
I think that's good.
I think everything went smooth.
As long as we're not totally trying to reinvent the wheel. I think
Right.
we have the knowledge there amongst us.
Probably more knowledge than the engineer does. Probably, if you want to get right down to it.
these are little pieces and phases.
So we don't have those big projects.
Right. You can pay for the hardware with the engineering savings.
Yeah. That's true.
Right?
That's right. So,
Press on, man. Just
Yeah.
keep going. You better believe it.
as long as that fund exists, that replacement fund, and we keep putting money in it, and it grows, and as we, you know, I know Keith's always big on this, you can take that money and not borrow money or whatever, use that to make it better.
We'll spend money on cameras, but we-
Right. And then, phase three is, you know, if we would have to add a big clarifier, or we'd have to add something that's, like you just mentioned, something maybe, you know, we get a big industry that moves into town. They're gonna employ 300 people, and they're gonna be giving us more waste. That's when you would see phase three go. If the EPA cranks down on us more, and we need better treatment, they're saying, you know, we need to lower the phosphorus levels, have less solids in our effluent, or whatever, then that's when phase four comes in. And that's when you would probably realize,
But there's less solids in our effluent now than there is in the river that we're putting it into.
oh, it is. You can go down there a lot of times, and you go down where we're discharging in the river, and what we're discharging in the river is cleaner than what's coming down there. You can see it right there, can't you? You stand right there, this is clear, this is horrible, like, really. I'm gonna be quite honest with you, of course, you know, there's runoff, and there's different things, we don't have runoff, so. But, you know, if we'd have to do ultrafiltration, these are called tertiary filters. This is a building that already exists. We'd upgrade that. Ultraviolet, that's something that could be added. If we had to have more aeration chambers, that would go in this area right here. It's all set up, ready for that. So we have the expansion, we're ready to grow, you know, the capabilities there.
keeping one eye on all those futuristic EPA. Here's all these little subtle hints that they're saying.
When Nick and I attend these meetings and we go, that's one of the, that's usually a topic every time we go, is what's coming up. What are they checking?
Ahead of the curve.
Mercury is the kick they're on right now. And we found out that, we got switching labs. Our mercuries were always kind of borderline. When we switched labs, our mercury levels came down from what we anticipated, I think because the lab is not a writer that makes our sample up to somebody else's. But when we went to a different lab, we just had better success on the mercuries. We are gonna have a wastewater, pre-bid meeting too. It's a mandatory meeting that they have to come to. That will be on the 27th at 1 o'clock. They're gonna be touring the water plant Wednesday, and then in the afternoon, at 1 o'clock, they'll be coming up here to City Hall for a pre-bid meeting with Joseph Henderson, myself, some of the guys from the wastewater plant. Want them to know exactly what the project entails and what it's about before they bid. Attendance is mandatory in order to bid. So whoever you see here, that's who's gonna be bidding the project on Wednesday. These are the guys at the wastewater plant. I'm just telling you about the raw pumps. We had a little bit of trouble with number 2 raw pump right here. Although it was back in operation, even though we haven't shimmed up right the way it's supposed to do. But everything, the guys were learning on that. This is Shimmy Farabee and Carl Mozart, 2 new employees to the wastewater plant. They're down there working on that new pump. There's Nick and Lee and new superintendent Jack Pratt. So, how's that been running for you?
Yes.
Kind of wrap things up. Major fund reports. There's a water operating fund, what's in that? Water capital improvement fund. Wastewater operating fund. Wastewater capital improvement fund. And wastewater replacement fund. Does anyone have any questions?
Questions?
Thanks, John.
Big one, John.
Just let you guys know, some of you may know, Bill Johns, no relation, lives in Fox Run, was a member of our Civil Service Commission. Due to work scheduling changes, he had to resign from the position.